The final battle, merging timelines. In the days to come we are going to face many challenges. There will be people that will rise to the occasion and people that will willingly or in ignorance submit themselves, their families, loved ones, society in general to a severe diminishing and loss of health and freedom. The integrity challenged and socially engineered will walk lockstep down a very dark path. They are driven by manufactured fear, lies and deceptions by the corrupt, bought and paid for integrity and morally challenged politicians, mainstream and social media. The socially engineered, unconscious will be offered promises of positions, power and wealth of which are ill-gotten gains. In the end they will lose all of it due to universal law. It is time to apply a little base logic to where society now stands. Never before have we seen so much decadence, corruption, lawlessness, extreme disregard for the well-being of humanity and the earth. If you look behind the curtain you will see almost every agency and organization has betrayed its mandate. They betrayed the people they serve and positions of power over others. Wealth and notoriety have become the most sought-out attributes. It is as if evil is rewarded and rises to the top in these organizations and agencies. Their gods are money, sex, power and notoriety with a complete disregard for others or the effects within their soul. Thus, they have opened the door to darker forces. Eventually the soul becomes a mere shadow to those darker forces. It starts with a lie or two, actions here and there that are self-serving or harmful to others, a bribe here and there, all escalating to level where if you want to retain your position, financial status or move up the ladder of success you will be expected eventually to perform the most heinous of acts. It's called soul bargaining. We did not get here alone. Base logic dictates that there has to be a force behind this decline, a very dark force that cares nothing for humanity and the earth. Logic also dictates the reason there is so much inhumanity on the earth must be due to non-human intervention by beings with no compassion or empathy. Beings that despise and are at war with humanity and the earth. In truth it is a war on the Creator within all creation. Whether you call it the satanic/Luciferians replete throughout high levels of government, religions, the movie/music industries, all institutions at the highest levels. Or if you call it the jinn, demonic/reptilian/grey alliances often referred to as archons, there are seen and unseen negative influences weighing heavy on humanity and the earth. These unseen negative influences are waiting for a chink in the armor, a door to open, and many are holding the doors wide open. Many are in disbelief, cannot even comprehend such forces exist. They just want to go about their socially engineered, critically thinking and research-impaired lives in denial. Few are even aware of the social engineering, and even fewer ask the question, who is behind the social engineering? The awake question would be, where is this social engineering taking us? Are we aligned with universal law or unity consciousness? Are we aligned with universal peace, brother/sisterly love, individual freedom and prosperity for all? Are we creating heaven on earth? The biggest question is, are we setting boundaries with those who are trespassing on our God-given rights, or are we afraid to rock the boat? These darker forces have infiltrated every level of our civilization. Defense departments have become the offense departments, an enforcement arm of the global elite and deep state. Many on the highest levels in the military are guilty of treason. Generals are judging, condemning and jailing others who have maintained their honor and oath for questioning their decisions and actions. Top generals in the military were involved with child and drug trafficking. Soldiers were sent to guard the poppy fields in Afghanistan to keep the opium flowing. Your criminal justice system is run by criminals at the highest levels, ignoring the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. The Justice Department is just us, laws for thee and not for me. Other alphabet agencies have involved themselves in covert operations on orders from the global elite, false flags, bribery, payoffs, falsifying information causing harm or loss of freedom to those working on humanity's behalf. Research the siege on January 6, who truly orchestrated it, and ask yourself, what happened to those arrested and their right to a speedy trial? The health agencies have embarked on what can only be called a eugenicist's dream. Hospitals, big pharma, doctors, nurses in general have abandoned their Hippocratic oath. Money is first and foremost over the health and well-being of the patients. The Secretary of Health is an obese man who thinks he is a woman in charge of your mental and physical health. Let the beyond ridiculous of that sink in. At the top of our food chain, the president is a man giving orders with dementia who does not know where he is or who he is with. A man who loves to fondle and sniff children. He and his son are deeply indebted to and receive orders from the CCP, Communist Chinese Party. Why else would every action he has taken been in China's best interest? He and his corrupt allies are destroying America by design. It can't be any more obvious. Did you know socialism is the preferred government of tyranny? Socialism/communism are now taught in schools by teachers and professors as the highest path to take. This has been sponsored by the CCP and the global elite for decades. This social engineering plan has been executed by politicians, lawmakers, even law enforcement funded and installed by the CCP and the global elite. Whenever you centralize the power and wealth in the hands of a few, in this case satanic/Luciferian narcissist billionaire eugenicists, where will that lead you? For those history-challenged Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini all were socialist genocidal dictators. There were also communist genocidal dictators like Pol Pot, Mao etc. They were all sponsored by the international banksters, the global elite who financed both sides of every war since Napoleon. They are the war and disease profiteers, the originators of the pandemics, dividers of religions, races and now genders to stop unity consciousness. They hijacked every movement to bring about change for the better and in its place created division, hatred, and disunity. The Fourth Reich is real, it is alive, and most governments, if not checked by the people, will march lockstep by the same playbook. Ending is starvation, mass poverty and a total loss of freedom. Tyranny has many faces and it is international in scope. Now the tyrants have socially engineered the masses to do their bidding, participate in their own enslavement and eventual demise. The virtue signaling, shaming, unlawful enforcers, the talking heads, corrupt politicians, oath betrayers are all participating in their own demise, taking the socially engineered along with them. It is a descent from freedom and prosperity and now fast-tracking to hell. The dangling carrot, money without a consciousness of impeccable integrity, is poison to your soul. Now it has become converted into poison to your body. The jabs. The last attempt to carry out their population reduction and total control agenda. Woke is another word for socially engineered to do the bidding of the puppet masters. Awake is knowing who the puppet masters are and their agenda, as well as the guiding forces seen and unseen behind their words and deeds. Awake is knowing and making your own personal connection to God/Creator/Great Spirit, honoring the sacred circle of life and discerning between lesser gods and lesser agendas. Awake is acknowledging the omnipresent Creator within all creation, understanding quantum entanglement, the connectiveness of everything, the sacred circle of life, and acting accordingly. It transcends race, color, culture and religion. Those who are awake focus on character and applying universal law in all they say and do. Universal peace, brother/sisterly love, individual freedom and prosperity for all is the foundation of the awakened. It transcends all cultural and religious boundaries. This is the upward spiral. Why not teach the children what it means to be awake? There is a lot of talk about timelines, dimensions, temporal and multidimensional wars, different Earths just out of phase from each other. There is not a single answer as to who is right, it is all unfolding. It is like ufology, are they off-world, hours from back engineering, benevolent, malevolent, German, inner Earth vehicles from ancient ancestors, is there a controlled narrative? Who is right? The answer is all of them. It is a multiple choice question. Yet some demand you accept one answer. True science is not the recycled ignorance taught in most universities to train the masses to become dependent consumers void of soul, spirit, and multiple realities. If true science was taught, we would have anti/counter-gravity, abundant fuelless energy, increased longevity, and the cures for all diseases. We actually already have all of that, it is just in the hands of the controllers. True science comes to you, it is outside the box. That is where the breakthroughs originate. A fact is a theory enough people agree upon until a new theory blows it out of the water. Imagination is real on the level of imagination. Because something is non-physical does not mean it does not exist. If it was not written in the old professor's book, it does not exist. When the old professors die is when the new facts are born. Humanity is in the middle of influences from higher and lower dimensions some refer to as densities. It is all about vibration and frequency. There are lower dimensional beings that come in every size, shape, and color filled with lower frequency consciousness. Fear, anger, hate, jealousy, greed, pride, the desire to control and dominate others, holding grudges, self-service and division thinking, all of these attitudes and emotions have lower frequencies. When we address and heal the wounds, traumas and wrong conclusions from past experiences, we rise in frequency. Love, joy, bliss, service to others, the Creator in all creation, being a blessing to life are frequencies of the highest vibration. It is said the closer you get to nirvana or heaven, which is a state of consciousness, the more the demons rear their ugly heads. You become a threat to the unhealed and the unconscious, both physical and non-physical. Learn to depersonalize emotions, energies, and actions of others. Practice loving detachment. Simply thank them for establishing their ignorance and character and move on. Little dimensional humor there. Never forget the only reason anyone has any power over you is because you want something from them. Be it love, acceptance, approval, security, all can be found within. The temple has always been within. God/Creator/Great Spirit is within, an internal, not an external journey. Humanity and the Earth are moving through a cycle, a highly energized place in space. The electromagnetic light spectrum is increasing with new bands. The Sun is throwing off CME's coronal mass ejections or flares. The Schumann resonance is off the scale. In other words, we are undergoing a vibrational lifting and healing some refer to as ascension. This is affecting multiple dimensions. Within this process are the temporal wars, shifting timelines. The veils between worlds are growing thinner with bleed-throughs of events unfolding on different dimensions some call densities. Many are experiencing the attitudes and emotions of lower density beings. Anger, sadness, fear, againstness. Yes, I made that word up. A plethora of emotions are flooding into this dimension, into the energy fields of humanity looking for a place to express. The electromagnetic fields around the body are being invaded, especially those who are already operating on a lesser frequency. Many refer to this as negative influences or possession in extreme cases. Everything from excessive bouts of anger, violence, unfounded fears, sadness, emotions and attitudes which are mistakenly acted out in unthinkable ways not knowing their source. We call these unseen negative influences, and they are not limited in time. It could be coming from deceased ancestors, ancient and recent, past lives, past cultures, religious beliefs, etc. The good news is just as there is a lower vibrational dark side, there is a higher vibrational light side. There are enlightened beings above humanity assisting in the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth. There are what are referred to as angels, archangels, ascended masters, spiritually and technologically advanced off-worlders. We are not and never have been alone. There are also very advanced cultures living multidimensional lives on the interior. There are tools for clearing these energies, I call them power tools. They have to be plugged into your higher selves or those who have ascended. These tools can be used in conjunction with the high vibrational beings to clear these lower vibrational influences. As we said earlier, excessive fear, anger, sadness, violence, even accidents can originate from these negative influences. This can all be healed by the use of positive influences with a little assist using tools and techniques like proper prayer, meditation, invocations of saints, sages, masters, spiritually and technologically advanced off-worlders. The tools are free on our website www.eceti.org and in the books on the site covered in more detail. We are being pulled in both directions. There is the upward spiral, living a loving, joyous, abundant life in service to others, the Creator within all creation, and the downward spiral, a life of fear, anger, division, greed, self-service, etc. The upward spiral will continue, the downward spiral will implode and collapse in on itself. Both directions are being amplified and accelerated. We get to choose which path we take. We choose to be a victim or a master. A master gains the wisdom from each experience, forgives, and allows the wisdom to settle in the soul, continuing on their journey. A victim projects, blames, uses their victimhood to gain emotional or physical support from others, taking no personal responsibility. Become the observer of self, monitor your emotions and thoughts, release the past and don't worry about the future. Move out of the reactionary mind into the creationary mind and create your tomorrow. Make decisions and actions based on universal law with impeccable integrity. In simple terms, if it isn't good for everyone, it isn't good. If it is harmful to humanity and the earth, if one man's/woman's gain is another man's/woman's loss, cease. It is really that simple. I want to end this newsletter with a dream I had. I was overseeing several timelines. I was also seeing more than one Earth. I saw as many as 8 Earths, all just out of phase from each other. Each Earth had a different collective consciousness. On the timelines I was observing, one was very dark, some people were becoming gray, opening to spirit. I saw an older man, his energies were very light gray. He was so close to ascending off his timeline, but he was dying. There was another timeline just next to his. There was a line of monks all carrying what looked like pizza full of toppings. One particular monk put a pile of toppings on the left-hand corner of his pizza to share with others. The dying man reached out from his timeline and grabbed a handful of toppings, eating them with such delight. The energy of the gift, that one generous act, was all he needed to ascend off his timeline. The monk was exhilarated to see the offering disappear and felt the transformation. We all need to be like that monk. Set a little aside for others. Beware of those in need reaching out from other timelines and dimensions. Don't forget those in need on this dimension. Have a consciousness of gratitude and generosity. Most important, learn we live in a multidimensional world with different timelines. Some are bleeding into others, the veils are getting thinner. Our thoughts and actions affect others, not just on this dimension and timeline. Learn how to heal unseen negative influences, maintain your own self-authority, create sacred space, and be of multidimensional service to others. You are not just a body and a socially engineered personality. In truth, you are an eternal soul, a multidimensional being existing on a vibrational continuum all the way back to source in more expanded states of awareness. Just reading this article changed everything. Now do something with it. Keep an open mind, loving heart, and pure intent. Choose wisely in your thoughts and actions. James Gilliland.